I'll let Cindy Moore introduce.
Well, thank you for letting us be here today. And the program is Miss NorthWest, Chantal Wilson. As they said earlier, she leaves today to start competition at Miss Minnesota. She's going to speak to you about her platform, which is Realize Your Potential, Beat the Bully. So I will let her go ahead. I have a little presentation, so I'm going to get the laptop started first. And if Cindy would use the time to help click buttons. So as Cindy said, I'm Chantal Wilson, Miss NorthWest, and I'm just going to tell you before we get started a little bit about the Miss America organization. I know that many of you are familiar with Miss NorthWest, as we've had one for quite a number of years with Water Carnival, and what you'd usually think of when you think of Miss America might be this picture. This is Miss America, one of the first ones from the early 1920s. But what you might not think about is our current Miss America, Nina Davaluri. She's of Indian descent and she's going to medical school. Many things have changed over the years. Miss America started as a swimsuit competition, but now it's so much more. What we're doing with Miss America is we're focusing on scholarship. We're giving money to women who are pursuing their education, taking control of their careers, and doing some really wonderful things within the community. And that's what Nina's been doing this entire year. So this is the new vision of Miss America. One other thing you might think about is Rebecca Ye, our current Miss Minnesota, used to be Miss NorthWest. We also had Miss NorthWest the year prior to Rebecca, Siri Free, also won Miss Minnesota. So I think that's a little bit of a source of pride for our local community.
A little pressure, huh?
Pressure, I know, right? All right, a little bit about me. I graduated from Greenbush Middle River High School in 2009. It's a cute picture of me and my two cousins. And from the University of Minnesota's Carlson School of Management in 2012. I'm currently in law school at BU Law. My graduation hasn't happened. I fell asleep on my book studying. One of my friends took a picture of me, so that's the picture. My degree's coming along. All right, so we're going to move forward, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my platform. Within the Miss America organization, everybody who competes is encouraged to find something that they feel strongly about, do a bunch of community service in one specific topic, and that's how the organization really tries to make a difference within a variety of local communities. My personal platform is the Power of Potential, Beat the Bully. And the general premise actually comes from an American Psychological Association study that I was reading as part of my readings in law school, and it said that to overcome tough times, it's important to find an activity, find an interest, get really involved in it, and really go for it. Work hard, feel good about yourself, and that will help you to overcome tough times. And I know that bullying is a big problem in our public school systems, private school systems, and even in the workplace. So that is the premise of my platform. Bullying is a huge problem, but what they're doing to prevent it isn't quite enough. We need to encourage kids to find interest, move forward, and work hard. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about bullying because I know that some people don't really recognize whether or not it's a problem. A lot of people say, oh, it's just what kids do. You just have to buck up and get over it. And that's true to a point. But bullying rises to a certain level when there are kids in our public school systems committing suicides. So here is bullying by the numbers. 28% of students in the public school system say that they've been bullied. And this just isn't bullying that doesn't really rise to the level of bullying, but this is bullying that rises to the statutory definition. The kind of bullying that is either physical or is repeated day after day for a long period of time, and that precludes them from getting the public education that they're guaranteed. 49, that's the number of states that have passed anti-bullying statutes. So I think that really underscores that this is a problem in this country. 49 out of the 50 states have recognized that it's a problem, and they've passed legislation because of it. 15%, I thought that this number was pretty high, but that's actually the number of people in the public school system, kids, that have considered suicide because of bullying. 15%. I thought that was incredibly high, really astonishing. And by the way, all these numbers are from the Department of Education, so federal government. If you trust it, these are right. Can we move on? Thank you. And one more thing I'm just going to point out, the NFL actually had a bullying scandal this year. One of the players with the Miami Dolphins came out and said, I've been bullied in the locker room, and not just the type of bullying that NFL players are known to do, but the NFL completed a study and went in and asked questions about whether or not this was bullying, and they said, yes, indeed it is. So this really underscores that this isn't just a problem for kids in school, but it's also a problem in the workplace, all the way up to the NFL. So currently in the public school system, they exercise no tolerance policies, training and empathy, and they emphasize administrative reporting as a way to sort of quelch the occurrence of bullying, and even as a way to try to prevent it. However, I don't think that this is really the way that it should be addressed. A study out of King's College in London was a longitudinal study over the course of 30 years that asked, does bullying affect you in the long term? And what ended up occurring is that yes, it does. They studied kids who were bullied. They didn't go as far in their education. They weren't able to progress up, rise through the ladder in the workforce. They had less satisfying marriages and weren't able to relate quite as well to their children. And so this is a problem that's not just a problem, when you're a kid, but it can follow you all the way into adulthood. All right, so what does this mean about my platform? What am I doing as this, one law student who's Miss NorthWest who's talking about bullying? What I really wanted to do this year as Miss NorthWest is to, get involved. I like to be a woman of action. Let's do something instead of just talk about it. So last summer, I started with a slumber party, and I took 20 girls. It's a picture of all the people who participated from a variety of different groups in Detroit Lakes. We asked people from different churches, from the Boys and Girls Club, from the Girl Scouts, and organized places where kids get together. And they came and we had a slumber party. And what we did at the slumber party was we tried out different activities. We taught them a little bit about nutrition. We planted flowers and talked about science. We did some dance lessons and talked about health. And we really tried to just expose them to different things that they might be interested in, but maybe hadn't thought about before. Next, I'm hosting a group of girls in Detroit Lakes going through the Duke of Edinburgh Award. And this is an international award, originally out of England, that purports to get girls in this case. It's open to gentlemen as well, but I work specifically with young girls in the Detroit Lakes community. So what it purports to do is to get them really involved in community service by exposing them to community service. It also helps them to develop a skill. You're required to go through training for 6 months in some sort of skill, whether that's a musical instrument or a sport. And you're also required to do some level of physical fitness, learn how to be healthy, learn how to be fit, and live a healthier life. And they're actually going to be finishing that award right before Miss NorthWest, so we're hopefully going to have them on stage and honor the work that they've done over the year. Next, I actually started a website called ThereSheLives.com, and what I'm hoping to do with this website is to expand the awareness of bullying, but also to help the people that visit the website to get interested in different activities. We've got top 10 and top 5 lists of things that kids can try to read, things to watch. It just broadens their horizons and makes them aware of other things that are available. And then lastly, on the website, we also have links to ways that they can get involved in specific career fields and colleges that they can go to that are either close to home or nationally ranked colleges if they're interested in a specific career field. All right, 2 more things. Coming this fall, I started working on this in February. I'm hosting a seminar for young women in Minneapolis at my alma mater, the Carlson School at the U of M, where a bunch of my former professors are getting together, and we're getting some professors from the technology schools as well, and we're hosting a seminar for underprivileged young ladies in the Minneapolis area, just to get them interested in careers. What can you do? What could you do in a business career? What could you do in a STEM career? Just to get them started to think about college, things that they might want to do in the future. And lastly, I have to tell you about this because I thought it was so fun. I did my law school thesis this semester, and I called it Legislating Tolerance, but the topic was anti-bullying. So what I did was conduct studies that asked the question, what type of effect does the adoption of anti-bullying statutes or model policies in states have on the propensity of public schools to adopt strong anti-bullying policies? And it was a really interesting study. There is a link on my website if anyone wants to read it, but I'll warn you, it's kind of long. All right, I kind of talked about it, but I have an extra slide on here. We'll just move through it, I think. But, all right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about my website, a little bit more. Under the Beat the Bully tab, there are lists of things that you can do to prevent bullying, and also things you can do, if you have identified that you might be a bully. Because I think one of the interesting topics that people don't talk about very much is that people who act as bullies, it's not that they're awful people. They're just people who maybe don't feel wonderful about themselves, and they are a target of my website as well. You want to help them to find interesting things that they want to do, help them to succeed, and help them to feel good about themselves, because when that happens, they're less likely to be interested in teasing the other kids. And I already talked a little bit about the Explore Your Interest page, and this is where we have the list of different activities that kids can get involved in. And I've actually had a couple emails from kids who have started running down the list and trying all the new things. And it's things like learn to make your own dinner, make your own bracelet if you're 9, or they're organized by age groups. So at the 17-year-old level, I have a suggestion. Learn to do laundry. It's really astonishing how many 17-year-olds don't know how to do that. I got to college and taught 6 guys my freshman year how to do laundry. So it's a valid suggestion. Lastly, this is one of the Get Where You Want to Go tabs, and it tells you a little bit how to get involved with a variety of career fields. We have a Learn It, Love It, Live It. So if you just want to get involved a little bit, you can go under the Learn It suggestion and try something out that gets you a little bit involved in a specific career group. And if you're really sure that that's what you want to do, you can go under the Live It tab. It kind of got cut off in the screenshot here. But it's suggestions that help you get really involved, and the Live It suggestions are things that if you put it on a college application, they really demonstrate that you're interested in a career, and they're likely to help you get into college. All right, so this is my presentation today on my platform, but I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have about my platform or Miss Minnesota or anything else.
What's your talent?
I play the piano. I'm playing Mendelssohn's Rondo Capriccio, so I'm quite excited. I started working on it last November, and BU let me use their fine arts school, the really nice 9-foot grand piano to practice on an hour a day. So it's good, I think.
Did you used to give piano lessons at a young age?
Yes, I did. I started taking piano lessons when I was 4. At that point, your parents kind of decide for you. They're like, oh, it's going to be so adorable. But at a certain point, you decide, oh, I kind of like this. It's kind of fun. And so I started really seriously practicing and playing when I was 8 or 9. And I was certified to teach with the Minnesota Music Teachers Association at 14. I kept taking piano lessons, but I taught piano from the time I was 14 until I graduated from high school.
It's not much of a piano, but would you be willing to?
I will play, if you don't mind, when I'm finished, I'll play the piece I played for Miss NorthWest, if you'd like to hear it. Okay, cool.
Which was the state that didn't sign up for the bullying? You said they're 49 out of 50.
Yeah, Montana, they don't have a law. They do have a model policy. Not surprisingly, though, the model policy has not influenced many public schools to adopt strong anti-bullying statutes. There's no law.
There was a story this week on TV about a 7-year-old that had bullied another child.
Yes.
Did you see that? And anyway, it was about, then he felt real bad, and he told his mother, and his mother said, all right, you're going to go apologize to the other kid. And then the two of them together now started an anti-bullying thing at school, and they've gotten a whole bunch of kids involved and kind of turned that whole thing around.
That's excellent. No, I'm really appreciating this sort of conversations that I'm hearing, people have about anti-bullying. It's really, it's getting more attention. It's a real problem. Those numbers that I had up on the screen, they're not fake numbers. This is a problem in our society. I actually just heard a couple days ago about a case where these two girls, this is an awful story. I apologize ahead of time, but these two girls, they were best friends with a third, and they were playing this video game or something, and the video game was sort of violent, and it involved some level of bullying, and they actually premeditated an attempted murder of their third friend. And I just think that when that happens, I think that's a problem in society. 9 months ago, there was the case in Florida where two girls were cyberbullying a girl for several years, telling her things like drink bleach and commit suicide. Eventually, she did end up committing suicide. And I just think that those types of comments, those types of actions, they're so disrespectful. And I don't think that that's something that our society should tolerate, that level of disrespect.
I have a question. Are you up yet with bullying in prisons by women on women in prison?
I have to say that is not a topic that I'm incredibly well versed in.
Good.
Because I've never been in prison. But I would imagine that is an uncomfortable situation for those women there, and I'm sure that the prison system should take action against that. People are in prison to help them or to punish them for things they've done, but also they're not there to be they're getting their punishment by being in prison, so it shouldn't be anything more.
Did you work for some law firm or something in
No,
Tennessee?
yes. I was going to say yes. Thank you so much. I'm back this summer. I worked for Briggs Ramsted in Scoils last summer.
And she did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thanks. So it was really exciting. I went back to Boston. I had a great year. So I'm going to be here for the summer again in Minnesota, and then back to Boston one more year. And then I'm done with law school and be a big girl and get a job, and it'll be wonderful. My parents will be so pleased that I'm making money.
Chantal, before we go any further, I think Cindy Moore ought to stand up. Cindy Moore has been working with Miss NorthWest, Miss Minnesotas, and all this for 20-some years now.
Wow.
Doesn't get much credit. Cindy's a instructor in the nursing program at M State. We got 125 nursing students there and so forth. So she's an instructor, but this is her avocation, and she's done so much work for all the Miss NorthWest, Miss Minnesotas, and all that goes on around here. So I think we got to give her stand and give her a lot of time.
Short comment on this. Cindy is such an amazing person for helping out with Miss NorthWest for the number of years that she's done it. I don't know if many of you know the type of involvement that it takes to put on a local pageant, but it's a lot of work. And every year you work with girls that are saying, okay, I want to do this, this, and this. Well, what happens then? Cindy's like, okay, that sounds wonderful. I'll help you do this, this, and this. So over the course of the years, Cindy has been there for so many community events. She's helped so many young women like me to reach their goals during their year as Miss NorthWest, and I really think that she should be commended for that effort. So congratulations on a wonderful many, many years. I can't remember how many it is. 10? 12?
20,
Something.
how many?
Something like that. It's wonderful. All right.
I have a question. In the case of the two 12-year-old girls,
Yes.
don't you think that the creator of the video should have a legal responsibility and have some sort of charges brought against them?
Right, so the creator of the video game, this is the type of law, question you get in law school, right? Should they have legal responsibility? I think that I'm a little rusty, but the legal test here is whether or not they were the proximate cause of this attempted murder. And I think that's for a court to decide, but personally, it seems to me like they should have some level of responsibility if their game is indeed what caused those girls to sort of consider committing an attempted murder.
But isn't a lot of what you would consider bullying really coming off of what kids see off of the internet?
Well, I think it's a product of their environment. Yes, it comes from the internet. Yes, it comes from games. Yes, it comes from television. It also comes from their family environment, how they're growing up. the level of disrespect, the level of violence that's tolerated in their communities. And I think that while these sort of outside sources need to be considered, there is a level of personal responsibility that each citizen of the United States needs to take. And I don't think that if you are causing someone to commit suicide, if you're saying those types of things, you need to take responsibility for the things that you're saying. And I know that, as much as someone can argue that it does, a video game can't tell you to go grab a kitchen knife and go attempt a murder. It's a decision that you make by yourself, and you'll have to be held personally responsible for it.
So piggybacking on that, is there any research that shows that bullying is worse now than it was, say, 20 years ago or 40 years ago?
Right, and that's a really difficult question because I think there's just more information available now than there was 20 years ago, and with 24-hour media, we have more information than we really need, honestly, on most subjects. But it's a tough question to answer. The point being, though, is that it is a terrible problem right now, and it does need to be addressed regardless of whether it's worse than it was before. All right. Oh, one more? Yeah, I was going to say you wanted me to play it. I'll head over and play the piece that I played for Miss NorthWest, but thank you again so much for letting me come and speak to you today. I'm really excited to head down to Miss Minnesota, and I hope to represent you all well. I think you all will know this piece, actually. So the first person who yells out the name of the piece gets bragging rights, okay? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the program and the piano playing, Chantal. No further business, meeting adjourned.
Yes, thank you so much.